Good morning, Peel District School Board. Welcome to our presentation today for Bullying Awareness and Prevention Week. Choose choose action to be anti-racist. Thank you for being here and choosing action today. My name is Amar and I'm in grade 5 at Artesian Drive Public School. Before we begin, I would like to share a land acknowledgement. The Peel District School Board is on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. This acknowledgement is to honor Indigenous peoples who came before us and the continuous Indigenous presence on this traditional territory in which we work and learn, demonstrating our commitment to truth and reconciliation. Let us take a moment to reflect upon how we can make the territorial acknowledgement meaningful in our schools and work sites. We can consider our relationship to the land, our power and privilege, and how we can use it to reciprocate. We are all treaty people and we all have a responsibility. During Bullying Awareness and Prevention Week, to choose action to be anti-racist, the connection might be to honoring identity and commitment to listen to and hear the voices and truths of people we work and learn with. I'm pleased to introduce the speaker today, Mr. Anthony McLean. Anthony McLean is a speaker and rapper who has delivered presentations across Canada, the United States, and Australia. Anthony has a passion for mental health, bullying prevention, and diversity and inclusion. After delivering 2,000 presentations all around the world, Anthony loves staying home and delivering virtual presentations. With a background in theater and acting, Anthony delivers lively presentations no matter where he is. Anthony has been commercials for companies like Tim Hortons, Sprite, and Bell. He has hosted a CBC television show and been in documentary films. In his presentations, he uses research-backed tools and actionable strategies to inspire audiences like us to bring their best every day. Hint: he also loves to freestyle rap. We look forward to giving him a topic that he will need to write a rap about on the spot at the end of the presentation today. Today, Anthony is talking to us about being anti-racist. Welcome, Anthony McLean, and thank you for being here today.
All right. Thank you so much. I love it. I love it. I'm imagining right now. I can't hear you. That's the way this thing works. We're live. I can't hear you, but I'm imagining applause. That's just like thundering out all across Peel. I can hear it in Brampton. I can hear the Brampton man's like I can hear Mississauga. I can hear Caledon. You see, I knew it. That's my Peel fam. I love Peel. Now, just so you know a little bit about me, I lived in Peel for over 10 years. My kids went to school in Peel. Some of you probably know my kids, Ariella and Joshua. We love Peel. This year we moved to California, so we're out here in LA. We're loving it, West Side, West Coast. But we love Peel. And one thing I did not realize about Peel until I left, one thing that makes Peel really special, and you don't even realize it when you're living in it, it's so multicultural and diverse. I mean, it's really special. Now, for me, it means a lot because when I was going to school, I remember I was usually the only black kid in my class. Matter of fact, take a look at my grade 2 class photo right here. Can you find me in my grade 2? Let me zoom in for you. Can you find me in my grade 2 class photo? Yes. Now, this was the year they put me beside the only other black guy in the class. Yeah, this guy right here on the poster, all right? It was me and it was him holding it down in grade 2 in Aurora, Ontario. Now, don't get me wrong, I had lots of friends. Most people were super nice to me, but I do remember what it felt like being different and standing out. And I remember getting made fun of. And I remember people making comments, and I want to bash this mic, about the color of my skin. And I remember, man, when I went into 6th grade, it's funny, now that we're in the States, people don't say grade 6, they say 6th grade. It's a little changes. But I remember being in grade 6, 6th grade, and I was a new kid at this new school. and everyone else knew each other, and I was the new kid, and I was the only black kid. And I remember one day at recess time, I ran faster than the dude that used to be the fastest guy in the class. And when I ran faster than him, everyone's like, oh, and he came over to me with a bunch of his friends, and everyone's standing around, and he said, oh yeah, you might be faster than me, but you're nothing but a stupid, and he called me the N-word. I'm not going to say it right now, but he called me the N-word, that racist word. And it's like, when he called me that N-word, it was like getting ice water thrown in my face. You might hear the N-word in a lot of rap songs. I love rap music too. And sometimes we're like so used to it that we just think like it's another word. It's not just another word. That word is rooted in history. And it's a history where my ancestors on my father's side were kidnapped, were forced to work against their will, doing brutal work without getting paid. And if they ran away, if they were caught, they'd be killed. They were enslaved people. This is part of the brutal history of anti-black racism. And my ancestors were told, you're not human like the rest of us. You're nothing but a Nigger. So like, it's not a funny word. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you don't joke about it. You know what I mean? And when he called me that word, it was like getting hit with all that history, and it hurt bad because I know what that word means. But can I be real with you, Peel fam? You know what hurt me even more than getting called that word? What hurt more is that everyone standing around when he called me that word, nobody said anything. They just stood there like it was no big deal. That's what hurt the most. Because I know I live in the real world. I know there's always going to be some people who are ignorant or mean or just hateful. I know there's always going to be one, but if everyone else is louder than that one, then we're going to be okay. We're going to be all right. The problem is when that one called me that word, everybody else was silent, and that's what hurt more. They just stood there and I was on my own. That's what hurt so much. You know, I actually got to know a lot of those people that were standing there doing nothing. Like throughout grade 6, I actually ended up having a lot of friends by the end of the year, and a lot of those people standing around became my good friends. And here's what I can tell you about them. They are not racist. And when they were standing there watching me get called the N-word, they were not racist. But, and I love this quote by Angela Davis. It says, in a racist society, it is not enough to be non-racist. We must be anti-racist. Standing there doing nothing was actually part of the problem. And so when you see racism happening in front of you, the right thing to do is to choose action. And that's what this week is all about, choosing action. And so what can you do? What could they have done instead of just standing there? It's real simple. Number one, you can speak up. Like what I thought was going to happen, he drops that word on me, the N-word, and everyone should have been like, yo, dude, hey, man, you can't use that word. I love this poster that Peel rolled out last year for Choose Action to Stop Hate, where it's like, stop the action. Yo, stop. Name it. Dude, that's racist, man. Number 3, explain the imp. Explain. Yo, you are not allowed to use that word, man. It's rooted in a racist history. You can't do that. Number 4, ask the person to change it. Yo, don't use that word again. I'm telling you. And then number 5 is support the person being harmed. And that day when I was on my own, I wish someone had checked in with me. I wish someone had like, yo, are you good? I mean, I saw what happened. I'm sorry. I didn't know what to do in the moment, but I'm just checking in on you. Like, you good? That would have made me know I'm not alone. But instead I went through that situation feeling like I was on my own. Don't let anyone go through something where they feel like they're alone. If you see it, man, choose action. You can speak up. You can check in with them, or if it's real big, you don't know what to do, you can get help. So if you hear someone using like a homophobic slur or racist comments, you need to speak up and say something, check in with the person, or get help if it's too big for you. But don't just stand there and do nothing. All right. So real talk, I got to admit this. I'm saying don't do nothing, but I'll be honest with you. There were times in my life where I heard people making comments and I said nothing. Like I remember in grade 7, one of my best friends in the world, one day out of nowhere, he just started making these racist comments about Jewish people. And right away, I was offended because my favorite teacher, actually, this was in grade 7. She was my drama teacher, and she was Jewish, and she was the best. I used to get so nervous when I would have to speak, like on stage, when I have to speak in front of people. I would get so nervous. My heart would just, I wouldn't want to get on stage. And my drama teacher showed me how to like stand with my feet shoulder width apart and breathe through my diaphragm. And she taught me like how to get over that fear. And the only reason I'm a speaker right now, traveling around the world, well, not right now. Now I travel like from my kitchen to my living room to do my sessions like this. But the only reason I'm a speaker right now is because of that amazing drama teacher. We're actually still friends to this day. And she's Jewish. And so when my friend made that racist comment about Jewish people, I was offended. But the first time he did it, I didn't say anything. I just stayed quiet. And I thought, well, I'm not racist, so, you know, I'm not the problem. But I didn't say anything. It's not enough to be not racist. We have to be anti-racist. So the second time he made a comment about Jewish people, I said nothing again the second time. I'm just being real. I wish I could tell you, I didn't say anything, but I'll tell you the truth. I felt horrible. I had this feeling in my stomach, like I'm not being true. I'm not being true to myself. Like I didn't feel good. And so the third time it happened, it's like a few weeks later, he made another comment about Jewish people. And the third time I was like, dude, why do you say that? Like my teacher is Jewish and she's amazing. She's not like that at all. Why do you have to say these hateful things? And I felt so much better. Now, I'll be honest with you. It was a little awkward. It was hard for me to say to my friend, why do you talk like that? It was an awkward moment, but it was so worth it. Sometimes you got to be brave and you got to start that conversation. And so this week is a good week to think about that, how we can choose action. Now, racism that is aimed at Jewish people, there's actually a word for it. Maybe you know this, but that's not it. It's actually called anti-Semitism. And we want to stay away from any hate that is aimed at the Jewish community. And racism that's aimed at Black people is called anti-Black racism. Now, there's also racism aimed against my Muslim friends and neighbors, and that's called Islamophobia. And there's a lot of hate that is directed at beautiful people. And we got to make sure that we steer clear of that, especially in Peel. Now, one more term I want to throw out here, and it's anti-Indigenous racism. And I love that we started today with a land acknowledgement for the First Nations people. I think we should do a better job of honoring their culture, honoring their heritage, and I love that we're doing that more and more with land acknowledgements. But here's my thing. Why is it that we always focus on our differences? Why is it that we're always looking at someone who believes a different religion than us? And so we look at their difference. Or someone's got a different color skin than us, and we're like, oh, I don't like that. I don't think people are as pretty if they have this color skin. Or someone believes different than me, and we focus on that difference. Or I'm straight and someone's part of the LGBT community, and so we lash out against that difference. I think we should spend more time focusing on the things we have in common. Because I guarantee you have things in common with people. And if we would just get past looking at people and judging them for their difference and focus on what we can all agree on, I think we can build a more equitable society. Like there's so many things we can all agree on, so many things we have in common, so many experiences we all share. Like, for example, have you ever bought a bag of chips? And you're like, yeah, I got a whole bag of chips. And then you open it and the bag is this much air, this much chips, this much air, this much chips. You just bought yourself a bag of air. I spent $3 the other day. Open the bag. It's a bag of air. I have enough air in my house. I got air in my house, man. I don't need to buy air. And I hate wasting money. I don't know about you, but I hate wasting money. I mean, have you had this experience? You feeling me right now? This is what unites us. It unites us. And I'll tell you what, man, I don't like wasting money. I don't like wasting money. So when I spent $3 on my bag of chips, I'm like, nah, okay, fine. You got me because it's a bag of air, but I'm not wasting this money. So you know what I did? When we went on vacation, I brought my bag of chips. We went scuba diving. I brought my bag of chips. The scuba dive instructor is giving everyone a tank of air so they can breathe underwater. I said, I don't need it. I got my bag of chips. We went under the water. They're breathing through their tank. I'm breathing through my bag of chips because it's a bag of air. And it worked. I could breathe just fine because a bag of chips is a bag of air. Salt and vinegar, air. Barbecue, air. Ketchup, air. These are the things we have in common. Everybody goes through that. Black, white, gay, straight, it doesn't matter. Why don't we focus on what makes us similar, what we agree on, instead of focusing on our differences? What you think about that? I think so too, man. I think it's a good point. I think that deserves another round of applause. Matter of fact, everybody in Peel is making noise right now because it's true. Keeping it 100 out here in these streets. Okay. Now, sometimes racism is big. Like when that guy called me the N-word. It's big and everyone knows like that's racist. But have you ever been in a situation where someone makes a comment that makes you uncomfortable and you're not sure if it's racist, but it kind of feels like it might be, but it's not like so big that you can be like, oh, that's racist, but it just makes you uncomfortable and you're like, ugh. That, my friends, if you've ever been through that, because I have, that's called a microaggression. Sometimes racism is big, but sometimes it's more subtle. It's more indirect. A microaggression is like a subtle insult that's aimed at a marginalized community. And I've been through this a lot. I wonder if you have too. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share a spoken word poem that I wrote about a microaggression that I went through in grade 6. Everybody watch the screen, watch the words. And as you listen to this poem, I want you to listen and see if you hear any microaggressions in this poem. So everyone listen, watch this. I remember 6th grade, I was talking in class and somebody walked up and asked, he said, "Hey, why do you talk like a white guy?" I was confused. I was like, why? What do you mean? How do I talk? He told me that I sounded too smart, and that's not a good thing. He said, "You're black. It's supposed to be a hood thing, ghetto life." He tried to give me a pound. I didn't get it right. Slapped my high five into his fist, and he said it twice. He called me Oreo. It's black, but the center's white. That was the day I cracked. Decided right there that I'd be more black. So I leaned when I walked, put slang in my talk. I changed who I was. I tried to play the part. But I played myself. Man, it's real hard to stay yourself. A simple suggestion, a microaggression, but it changed my direction. It changed my direction. A simple suggestion, a microaggression, and it changed my direction. Changed my direction. Yeah, okay. So, were you listening? Did you catch any of those microaggressions? It's not the big, loud calling you a racist word. Sometimes it's the quiet stuff. Sometimes it's the subtle stuff. I heard a saying, death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's just like little, and it can chip away at your dignity, all these microaggressions. It can chip away at your confidence. It can make you feel like you don't belong. Matter of fact, I have a friend, and he's a Canadian like me, black guy like me. And his family goes back in Canada like 5 generations, like his parents, his grandparents, his great grandparents, like Canadian all the way. But people will come up to my black friend and say, "Hey, so where are you from?" And he'll say, "Oh, I'm Canadian." And then they say this one. They say, "No, no, 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 no. Where are you really from?" And it communicates like, "No, no, no, you don't belong here. You're not what a Canadian looks like." That's hurtful. Or how about this one? How about this? I've heard this one a few times now, and it's this. I have friends that have been told this, friends who are Asian who are told this. You got a C in math? You're Asian. You should have gotten an A. And some people hear this and they think, wait, that's positive. Like that's a good thing, isn't it? No, because the same people that will say your race is good at this are the same people that will say, and your race is bad at this, and this other race is bad at this thing, and good. Listen, we need to put down the stereotypes and putting people in a box and let people be themselves, right? How about this one? Do you have hair under your hijab? I know girls who are asked this all the time, and it makes them feel like their culture is strange. Listen, making someone feel unwelcome and like they don't belong and like they're strange, they're like this alien that we want to, can I touch your hair? That's another one, man. I have a lot of friends who are black women who have strangers that will walk up to them and say, "Can I touch your hair?" Matter of fact, I saw this video where black women explain how they feel when someone says, "Can I touch your hair?" Everybody watch this.
Can I touch your hair?
No. I think it's really rude. No. They'll be like, "Oh, is this your real hair? Do you actually put chicken grease in your hair?"
I don't really like people's hands in my hair. I think it's kind of disgusting.
No. Can I touch your hair? You're no longer a human being who has a right to their own space. You're just something for me to look at and for me to touch.
I'm not a pet. Some people don't even ask, they just reach, and I'm like, whoa, hey, you can't touch my hair.
Can you imagine someone coming up to someone that had a nose ring and saying, "Hey, can I touch your nose ring? Can I touch your, no, you can't touch my hair. Do you have hair under your head?" That's not, just no, no. Okay, so now we're choosing action to be anti-racist, right? We're choosing action. We're not going to be passive. We're going to take action. But here's the thing. I don't want you to go so far into choosing action that you actually start like canceling people. And cancel culture right now is huge, where someone finds out that you laughed at something 10 years ago and now that's it. Shame on you. I'm never going to be your friend again. I'm going to cancel you. Cancel culture is not helpful because it doesn't let people grow. It doesn't let people learn. Like there's a lot of people that didn't know, oh, when I'm rapping, I shouldn't rap along to the N-word because if I'm not part of that community, I don't have access to that word. And then a video surfaces of them like 7 years ago rapping along to a song and they're not even thinking about that word. They're not calling someone that, they were just because they didn't know. And if you just cancel them and they don't get a chance to grow, we're not able to build community and have dialogue. So don't be part of cancel culture, all right? Now, here's the thing. There's a difference between cancel culture and passive culture. Passive culture is what my friends did when I got called the N-word and they were just like standing there like, no big deal. Passive culture is what happened when someone was making a racist comment and I was there and I didn't say anything. That's not cool. Passive culture doesn't do anything. Cancel culture shames a person. What I'm saying is that we need to create brave spaces. And in brave spaces, we have the courage to call people and say, "Hey, listen, that was really hurtful. And this is why you shouldn't use those words." Brave spaces engages in dialogue with people that are different from us. And we're open to the possibility that maybe they had the right intention. And we're just going to explain to them the harmful impact of their words. Now, one big difference between cancel culture and brave spaces, cancel culture calls people out to shame them. Brave spaces calls people in to engage with them in dialogue. And that's what this is about. It's about creating a community. It's about educating people. It's about helping them understand the impact of their words. All right. So let's not do the cancel culture thing. Let's do the community thing. Let's not call people out. Let's call people in, and let's build an anti-racist society together. And all the people clapped their hands and they said, yes, indeed. I love that. I love that. That actually reminds me of a powerful quote that Susie's great-great-grandmother, who's no longer with us, engraved in a porcelain vase that she made by hand. And this porcelain vase has been handed down for generations in Susie's family. And every year, one member of the family gets to keep it on their mantle. And this year is our year. And I want to show you what she engraved on this porcelain vase almost 100 years ago. This is a very special family heirloom. And I actually asked Susie if I can show you the engraving because it's so incredibly powerful. I want to be very careful with this. This was made in a very different time in history. And when Susie's great-great-grandmother engraved these words, it was an act of bravery. Now, I'm hoping you're going to be able to read it. But what she said... No. Guys, I'm so sorry. Hang on. Oh my. Oh. Oh no. It's so bad. Oh my goodness. Sorry. This is really bad. This is, I knocked the mic down too, I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys can still hear me. This is so bad. This is so bad. I can glue it, it's fine. I'm gonna glue it, it's fine, it's fine. The worst part about this whole thing is that this whole thing was a prank. I got this for $3 at IKEA, man. Oh, that was so funny, man. That was so funny. I hope I got you. I hope some of you fell for that. I had so much fun with that. Thank you so much. I did not mean to knock over my microphone. This is not a $3 microphone. I just, whew. Let's all take a deep breath. Yes, all right, that's some salt and vinegar air for the people. Awesome. All right, there's nothing engraved on this. There's nothing at all. There's nothing, but that was fun. All right, hopefully I got some of you with a prank. We're still having fun at Choose Action Week, all right? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna share one more idea with you, and then I'm gonna throw it open to Q&A, and I think we have some questions that were already submitted, and so we're gonna find out what those are, all right? This is happening live in real time right now. I did not mean to drop my mic, but hey, that's what happens when you live. All right, I had someone ask me this recently, and I thought, let me talk a little bit about this. Someone said to me, they said, Anthony, when I see you, I don't even see a black guy. And they said, you know, for me, I'm colorblind. They said, I don't see you as a black guy, I'm colorblind. And they thought it was a good thing. And it was cool because I got to engage in a conversation. Now, for me, it's really important that I I always assume someone has a positive intention, that they're not saying these words out of a mean place. But then we just talk about, okay, what's the impact of those words? So I know your heart's in the right place. And anyone that says I'm colorblind, they're usually coming from a really good place. And so this is not shame. This is not cancel culture. You said you were colorblind one time 3 years ago, so you're done. Man, it ain't about that. It's about engaging in dialogue and thinking about the impact of our words. So what's wrong with being colorblind? Well, there's a couple things to keep in mind. If you are not willing to see color, the question is, what's wrong with seeing color? The problem is not that you see someone's color. The problem would be if you see someone's color and then you ascribe all of these assumptions to that person because of the color. The problem is not seeing color. The problem is the connotations that you associate with color. So I want you to see my color. That's part of my identity. It's a beautiful thing. It's part of what makes our culture rich, is that we all are different. I think that's a beautiful thing. So you can see my color. It's beautiful. Now, here's the other thing about being colorblind. I don't get to be colorblind because I have to think about race, because the world looks at me through the lens of race. And I've experienced what it looks like when someone looks at you and judges you based on race. So for me, I don't get the privilege of being like, I don't see race. I don't have that option. And if you're coming from a place of you just choose not to see race, that means you're in a place of privilege where you don't have to think about race, because you're in the dominant place when it comes to race. And so that's where we get this idea of white privilege. Now, we all, depending on our social location, have elements of privilege, and myself included. That's where intersectionality is so important. So it's important to know your social location and know your place of privilege. And for a white person to say, I just don't think about race, that is a place of privilege. It's like a very wealthy person that says, I don't think about money, you know? Who even looks at the price tag anyway? You know what I mean? I don't even think about it. It's like, okay, cool. That's your place of privilege. But some of us have to think about it. And it's the same with race. So that's the thing about being colorblind. But again, most people that say this have a good heart and they come from a good place when they say it. All right. I said that was the last thing, and then we're going to throw it open to Q&A. 2 minutes. I'm going to share one last thing with you, 2 minutes, and then we're going to do Q&A. I want to show you a picture of my fam. I mentioned this before, but this is my fam. That's my son, Josh, my daughter, Ariella, and that is my wife, Susie. And this is us just clowning around, having some fun over Thanksgiving weekend here in the States. It's in November, Thanksgiving, which I'm still getting used to. This is my first Thanksgiving here. My family and I, we moved to California January 2020. And when we moved here, it was right in the middle of the school year. And so for Josh and Ari, it was like, oh, it's going to be kind of awkward because you're not going to know anyone at first. But once you make some friends, things will get back to normal. That's what I told them in January 2020. And then March rolled around, the coronavirus, quarantine, their school closed, and now they're home. And I kept telling them at the beginning of quarantine, maybe this won't last long. Hopefully we'll be back to normal. And then in May, when we saw the murder of George Floyd, we were heartbroken, and protests started happening, and there was a curfew that was put on all of Los Angeles County where we live, so we couldn't even leave our house after 5 p.m. And it was actually scary for a while. And I kept saying to them, don't worry, like things will get back to normal. And then one day I saw a picture of a beautiful, peaceful protest. And so many of the protests were peaceful. Unfortunately, usually that didn't make the news. The news would find some morons out there that weren't even about the cause, just setting things on fire and throwing rocks. They're not even about the cause. They're just causing pandemonium. And that's what ends up on the news. So people thought all the protests were violent, but don't get me started. Anyway, I saw a protest that looked like this, beautiful, peaceful protest. And it reminded me of the civil rights era, when Martin Luther King and all these heroes would march. And in the civil rights era, they really made changes. They really made huge changes in equity and huge changes when it came to racism. And I always thought if I lived at that time, I would have marched with them. But when I saw this picture, I realized I was hiding in my house, waiting for things to go back to normal when people were out there changing the world. And I realized, wait, I don't want things to go back to normal, because normal is microaggressions. Normal is Black people being killed in the streets and no one believes the story. Normal is everyday racism. I don't want to go back to normal. And I want my kids to remember this was the time, 2020, where just like in the civil rights era in the 60s, this is the time where we can change things. We can actually choose action right now to make a difference. You can make a difference. And so instead of waiting for things to go back to normal, we went to a beautiful, peaceful protest here in LA. This is me and my son. You see, still repping that Raptors cap, holding up our sign, Black Lives Matter. This is my daughter, Ari, holding up her sign. Notice we had the masks. We even tried to, physical distancing and all that. This is my wife holding up her sign, Black Lives Matter. And can I tell you something? That day at that peaceful protest, we marched beside people who were Black and white and gay and straight and young and old and rich and poor and every background you could imagine. We saw people holding signs that said Muslims for Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ plus for Black Lives Matter, Filipino X for Black Lives Matter. We saw all these signs, and it was all people marching together saying we want justice in our world. And as we march with them, I realized, wow, we can actually change history right now. And I'm telling you what, at some point, I believe in the future, we will look back at 2020 and say, oh yeah, that year was bananas, but that's when we really started making some meaningful change around racism. That's why, Peel fam, this week is so important. This is not just another Choose Action Week. This is not just another Bullying Prevention and Awareness Week. This is a week where we can think, what can I do as an individual to take one small step that will make a difference? Maybe it's one conversation with a friend. Maybe it's a conversation with a family member you have that just sometimes goes off on a racist, rant. And maybe you can have one conversation with that person. Remember, this is not about canceling people and calling them out. It's about calling people in so that we can build this inclusive society together. So let's all choose action and make a difference. All right. All right, everyone, we're going to throw it open to Q&A right now. Let's find out what questions you have been asking.
All right. Thank you so much, Anthony. What a positively powerful presentation that was. You instill so much inspiration and hope within us, all of us, the whole Peel family. Seriously, your energy, your message, your lived experience, we're so grateful. We're so deeply honored and truly humbled that you are here with us today. Thank you so much. I honestly felt chills, like the good kind, when I was listening to your talk. And you're so entertaining. So thank you so much for being such an engaging speaker. I know that like me and my colleagues were literally laughing at some of the things that you were doing. And at the same time, I feel like I'm going to walk away with feeling inspired to choose action and, showing up every single day. So thank you so much for doing that for all of us. All right. So we do have a couple of questions. The first one is from Greg Farron, and it's class 77. It's an online teacher, and they're from the Woodland School. How can we students start an anti-racism group?
Oh man, I love that. See, when it's student driven, how can we students actually start something here? I love that. Here's the thing, student driven movements are the movement right now. So do it. And here's the beautiful thing about starting. This is the secret that no one tells you about starting anything. When you start, no one knows what they're doing. That's the thing about start. Like when I decided I'm going to start being a speaker, I'm like, how do you do that? It's like you Google some stuff and you talk to some people, and you just kind of reach out to who's around you and you're like, hey, I want to do something. How do I start that? Look, anything in life that you want to start at the beginning, you're going to go through the, I don't know what I'm doing, and that's okay. Reach out to the people that are around you. Talk to your teacher. Talk to your parents. Talk to people at other school. Google stuff and find out what action you can take to make an anti-racism student group. But do it. Get moving, because that is the movement.
Thank you so much. I love that. That's exactly it. We are the change. We can make things happen because we have the power of one. That's it, Peel Fam. We got to choose action to be anti-racist. Let's go. Our second question for tonight is, how do you think the government can contribute to helping change people's mind and getting them educated about our history and even our world today?
Yeah, that's a great question. What can the government do to make a difference? One thing I love is that the Canadian government has been participating in the Truth and Reconciliation Act, where we're looking at what the Canadian government did to our Indigenous people. We're looking at things like residential schools. What was the harm that was done, and how can we repair that harm? So those conversations are happening, and now it's about what actions can we take to repair that harm. So as long as government is involved in repairing harm and being honest about the atrocities of the past, and then talking about what reparations can exist to repair that harm in the present, I think we're doing the right thing.
Thank you so much, Anthony. Appreciate all of that. All right, so our students also wanted you to be put on the spot with a word, and we are looking forward to hearing your mini rap. So the word for the day is TikTok.
The word for the day is TikTok. This is perfect. This is perfect. All right, so look, I don't have a beat, so I'm just going to do something a cappella. I'm going to rap about TikTok. It's going to be a cappella. Let's see what we get to. All right, here we go. All right. Putting me on the spot, rap about the TikTok. You know what don't stop, it's all about the hip hop. Now you only get a minute, that's just what you got. Recording that video till your phone drop. Now that's what happened to one day to my friend. Started that video, then the video end. But that's okay, cause hey, it was just fun. That's TikTok, now the rap is just done. What?
Wow. That was actually so good. Okay, we're gonna push it a little bit. Can we give you another word? Are you open to that?
Yo, I'm ready. I'm ready for questions.
Okay,
I'm ready for words. This is my Peel fam. I am down.
Let's go. Let's go. Okay, so the second, I guess it's not one word, but it's two words. It's Among Us. We would pick that. All right, let's get it.
Among Us. Here we go. All right, here we go. Check it out. Freestyle from the top of my head. Among Us, is it gonna be yellow or red? What happened? Oh no, now somebody's dead. Let's have a meeting. Check out what he said. Man, I don't even know what else I can say about Among Us. That's the game right now. Everyone's playing that right now, but we having fun out here. Peel, fam. I love it.
Honestly, you did good. You did good. All right. Among Us was a little bit too much. Okay, how about choose action? Can you finish us off with
choose action?
Let's go.
All right. Addition. No, it's not subtraction. Yeah, Peel fam, it's the week to choose action. That means thinking, yo, what can really happen? Choose action. That's why I am rapping. Think about one step that you can take. I'm telling you, don't be afraid to make mistakes, because when you get started, you don't know what to do. Ask a few people, maybe you will get a clue. Yeah.
Hey, let's go. Pop, pop. Anthony.
You know I need another one of these.
That was incredible. Honestly, Anthony, your energy, your messaging, it's just so powerful. Your rapping is on point. We're so grateful that you shared your time with us today. We're truly honored. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of Peel fam for tuning in. Just a quick reminder to all of the Peel educators, there's plenty of supports and resources and even activities that you can do post-presentation. However, I am cognizant of the time, so we want to give you a gentle reminder that this is all about the journey, not really the destination. So take that website and make sure that you explore it going forward. It's not about just this 1 week. This is work that we all got to do every single day. We got to show up and choose action to be anti-racist. Another huge thank you to Anthony McLean. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that you all have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you. Bye,
Bye, everybody. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Peace.